Hello and welcome to Talking Fast.
Wait, I need to find your document. Hey, my name is Sarah and welcome back to another episode of Talking Fast. Alongside me, just like every single week, is manager Jacob, and I would like to know what you are drinking or eating this week.
This week, Sarah, quick question for you.
What?
What I'm eating this week, I'm on a muffin vibe right now. I'm going muffins. Oh, okay. You have to choose. Do you like the tops or the bottoms?
Neither.
If you had to choose. Because you do. You have to choose right now.
I don't like pastries. You know this. I've talked about cupcakes. Even I only like the top of a cupcake because it has the icing on it. And even then, I don't even really like it that much. I guess I would eat the top of a muffin because that's sometimes like cooked more. You know what I mean? Like there's more as opposed
it's controversial.
It's too mushy on the bottom.
It's controversial, but I'm going muffin bottoms. But I've been eating blueberry muffins.
So what, you eat the bottom first? Like what do you do?
I take off the top, put it to the side, and then I'll eat the bottom.
Interesting.
Does anyone else eat it like that? Let me know.
Probably not.
What are you eating or drinking this week?
I'm eating patties. I love patties. Jamaican patties are quite possibly my favorite food group. They are my favorite snack. They are my favorite little treat because they sell them in the atrium of my work. And I go downstairs and get a little patty. And they sell Patty King patties. So this is my PSA I wanted to give to everyone. Patty King is like the superior of patties. It's like whatever you eat in Toronto, blah, blah, blah. They sell Patty King patties in a box at Costco. So you better believe Nolan and I bought the 40 pack of patties at Costco. And now my freezer is just stocked with patties. So when I go home tonight, and when I go home most nights, and I'm like not feeling like a full blown meal, but I'm just like a little hungry, I just pop those suckers in the oven and I have fresh patties that taste incredible all the time at my house. Patty King patties at Costco. This is your PSA. What are we watching or reading this week?
Okay, this is my time for PSA again. What I've been reading, a little bit of political platform.
I love that.
If you are in Toronto, we have a big election coming up.
And I think, when is the election? What's the date?
June 26th.
So when this comes out, you'll have I think advanced voting will be going on, but you'll have time to still.
Yes, advanced voting opens on the 8th for a few days. And then you can also do mail-in voting. But listen, it's very easy to get informed. Mm-hmm. All you have to do, most of the political candidates are going to have a little bit of a platform or messaging. Mm-hmm. You can check out their social media, see what's going on. Do the very minimum and just like get in the know.
And most places will aggregate it for you. Like most, like if you Google like who's running for mayor, Toronto, like the Globe and Mail, the Toronto Star, all these like organizations will have like, so you have to read their website, will have everything broken down for you that will like compare the candidates. Not enough people went out and voted last time. Yeah. And it was actually like I was embarrassed for Toronto. So and look what happened.
Exactly. So and that's like for any city as well. So PSA for anyone
is anybody else? No, it's just us going through a municipal election though because of scandal.
Alberta just had a provincial election that could have been swung by like 1,200 votes or something like that. It was a very minuscule number. Oh, wow. So anyway, that's just a PSA to get out there and you know what? Check out the news a little bit here and there and make an informed decision if you're available to do that.
Agreed.
Sarah,
I second that.
What are you reading or watching this week?
I'm not reading anything. I haven't bought any new books recently. I'm watching. So, I've talked a little bit about how I've started Vanderpump Rules. And what I did though was I started from season 10 because I just wanted to know all about the drama and the scandal and I watched the reunions, blah, blah, blah. But now I'm so invested. I am gone all the way back to season 1. So now I'm watching Vanderpump Rules from season 1 and it's the best reality television I've ever watched in my life. Like it is so ridiculous.
And you said there are a ton of seasons, right?
There's 10 and they're all like 40-minute episodes with like 20 some odd episodes a season. Like it's like I needed a good bingeable show and this is an incredible show for me to binge. I'm obsessed. And it's so funny watching it like it's like 10 years later. Like it's 2012 right now when I'm watching and it's just wild. Like the outfits, it's ridiculous. And it's so funny to look back on, but I'm obsessed with Vanderpump Rules right now.
Oh, incredible.
What are we listening to?
Okay, the other weekend I went to a first year music festival. Like they just started it up. A friend of mine was involved somewhat, then Farm League Brewing, which actually they brew good beer, kind of put it on. So it was in Fergus, small town, just kind of outside the city a little bit, near where my brother lives. And so my brother and I, for whatever reason, do you have a band like this where you've been trying to see them for so long that we had tickets here for this show and they canceled it because of pandemic, and then we were supposed to go to this festival, but then we couldn't for scheduling conflicts. Between the two of us, I think we tried to see this band probably like 6 or 7 times.
What's the band?
Well, okay, they're a pretty accessible band. It's Rural Alberta Advantage out of Alberta, obviously.
I don't know what that is.
They're like a kind of a rock band, indie
cool.
rock band. I love their music, listen to it a lot, especially when I'm driving. I think it's good stuff, but I hadn't seen them in all those chances or missed chances, but they were playing this festival called Meadows. So check them out on the weekend, and it was a fantastic set. So I've been kind of listening to that this week.
I love that.
What about you?
When this episode airs, I will have already, me trying to do the math in my head of when episodes are going up is the most difficult thing in my brain. Regardless, all I've been listening to is there is a playlist of all the songs she has not yet performed that could possibly be surprise songs, because every night, if you don't know, Taylor Swift performs one surprise song on the guitar and one on the piano. And so this playlist is someone aggregated it, curated it, and it's all the songs that haven't been played yet. So I'm listening basically to all the potential surprise songs.
Does she change it every single time?
Yeah, she doesn't play the same song twice.
So it's getting narrowed down a bit.
Yeah, and it's getting rough out here. Like we just lost the moment I knew yesterday when this was being. There's just a lot. It's very stressful.
Do you still have on your short list some options that?
Okay, so what I wanted to do, even though I can delete this, I can clip it off, whatever. I wanted to share with you guys my list of the songs that I want, so that if any of them do get played at my show, insert clip of me screaming and freaking out. Okay, surprise songs of my dreams at Eras Tour. Granted, I've taken a bunch of these off if they've already been like.
Right.
I've got Cornelia Street. Don't she's gonna play it, but who knows? That's the Way I Loved You. Acoustic, I Would Die. Ivy, my favorite, like one of my top three Taylor Swift songs. Long Live. She's not gonna play Long Live on my show, but we can dream. Last Kiss. These are just words to Jacob. He has no idea what I'm saying. Last Kiss.
These are all deep cuts.
No Body, No Crime. Back to December. That's the song by Taylor Lautner.
Ooh.
Right Where You Left Me. You Are in Love. New Year's Day. Daylight. I have a decently long list.
That's a long list.
That you would hope that maybe I get one of them.
Some of those have been axed already, you're saying?
No,
or that's what's left?
This is what's left.
Okay,
I already axed a bunch. So we will flash forward. And I will do my editing magic to see what I...
Do you want to do another flash forward as well? Do you think that she's still dating?
They broke up today.
Oh, I'm off on news.
They literally announced today that her and Maddie Healy broke up. So if I'm a betting woman,
you
then
got it.
I think you're good. Well, we're back with another What Do You Want From Us?
What do you want from us?
Where we just dive into the topics that we get the most in our inbox. And I mean, what do you want from us? We're just going to try and give you some advice and talk about our life experiences. That's all we can really do. Reminder, if you want to ever submit a question or a topic that you want us to talk about here on Talking Fast, you can follow us on Instagram at Talking Fast Show. You can also shoot us an email. I got a really lovely long email this week. The name is escaping me. I will remember eventually, but she sent this like long email with all these topics and guest ideas. We love that feedback.
Amazing.
Do that more. It's the best. So shout out to all those people that submit questions, but we just have a few that have been recurring, and that's what we're gonna dive into today. Jacob, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
I mean, this first one isn't really like what do you want from us in the sense of like these big like topics we normally talk about. This first one I just found funny was because it's about how did we meet. So somebody messaged me and said, how did you two meet? We know that Jacob's manager extraordinaire, probably should have cut that part out, but how did you two meet? Which I think is an interesting story. Do you want to kick her off?
Yeah. So okay, well, where to even start?
Where to begin?
I have a sister, Emma. Shout out Emma.
Shout out Emma.
This was like 20. I'm trying to think of when
2021 was when we started working together.
Yeah. So it would have been like 2020.
Okay.
End of 2020 that my sister.
So the scouting happened early.
Yeah. My sister used to live in Montreal, lives in Toronto now. But the start of this story is like she was looking, as I think a lot of people do, looking on TikTok, trying to get on the TikTok of a new city before you think about moving there, or if maybe one that you're thinking about traveling to kind of get the hot spots and like, you know, to generally suss out the vibe of the city of what you're going to step into. So anyway, she got deep into Toronto TikTok around the time that it was kind of blowing up in the city.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people vlogging their experiences through the pandemic. One being one Sarah Jenkins.
Yes, avocado toast and all.
Yeah, so
classic.
The way I at least I got introduced to you online before like making the initial connection was through my sister, who had sent, obviously my sister knows what I do, sent me your profile to be like, oh, you should check out what Sarah's doing. Not from just like, because there were a ton of people that were vlogging at that time, especially in Toronto, but she was like, you know, had her like hand on the pulse for understanding like who is a good storyteller, who has clearly a talent when it comes to putting together like nicely packaged content. So she's like, you should check out Sarah. So then I just started following you then. I don't know between, are you looking it up? Like the initial.
We have so many emails though, so I feel like this might be impossible. Stand by while I just scroll for like a quick sec.
You know what? I know how to find it. I bet.
You'll be better at finding it than I will. Why are you just putting in the headline?
Oh, I'm offline.
It would have been an introduction or something, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I typically like if someone gets an email from me that says management inquiry.
It was April or May of 2021, I believe, that you first reached out. So for those that don't know what a manager does, basically in like the TikTok and content space, a manager is there to help you with every aspect of your online life. So brand deal negotiations, works with the PR agencies, and you don't have to do any of it. And at that time, I had a few reach out to me. As of January of 2021, I think is when people started realizing, oh, TikTok's sticking around. Like some of these people are pretty legit. Like, and that's when I had a few initial meetings, but I really was like, I had no interest at first, to be completely honest. I didn't really know what they did, and I didn't really know the benefit. And I go, wait, you're going to take part of my money? Like, why would I work with someone that not understanding the context of how it helps? And then, did you find it?
I did find it. It was April 12th, 2021. And here's the best part. I emailed you at 11:39 a.m. and you got back to me the same day at 11:56, like 20 minutes or so.
That's very on brand. I reply really fast to emails that I want to reply to. Except for, I remember like you reached out, and at first, I think because all the other people I met with worked at these big agencies, I had to like suss out and be like, is this guy legitimate?
Yeah.
In those 20 minutes before I emailed you back. But then my request was that I asked to like meet with Jacob. But obviously like in that initial email, you were like, we were both RTA, pulling the heartstrings a bit. Like just the fact that we had like mutual friends and we had like mutual people that we had like worked with and crossed over.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the week, we had our first call. Like I had asked to meet on an initial call, and we talked for like over an hour. And then I started sending my brand deals, and you were like, you don't know what you're doing. So
there were definitely some price differences.
Yeah, just a little bit. Look, my brand deal negotiation used to be me and my friends on FaceTime being like, what do we ask for? Like,
who was talking about this recently? Was it, oh God, they were on the podcast. Who was it? They was mentioning that they like had a fake email account or something. Jacqueline. Yeah, it was Jacqueline who did that. That's such a classic case, but I think that's the case for most people who don't or have never worked with kind of a management team, is that they are handling things themselves and just like don't really.
And then now flash forward, it's been, so I guess if that was April, then it's been like 2 full years. I remember we were like, oh, we'll do like a probationary period. Like, well, not probationary, that might be the right term, but like we'll do like a little test period. You'll send me some deals. And then it was just like, it was never a conversation after that. Yeah. We never had like a proper like handshake, like deal signing. It was just like from then on we were working together. And
yeah. And I think that like from the beginning for anyone that I'm working with, but like that's kind of how it happens a lot of the time is like those first initial conversations are so important because it's 100%. Mostly built on trust and like, do you essentially vibe with the person enough to
host a podcast with them?
Yeah.
And you also have to be able to like, I literally text you more than any other person in my life. So you have to be able to like have that rapport, and you can pretty much figure that out very quickly.
Yeah.
So luckily, and honestly, I just like hate the process of like starting anew with somebody new. So like the idea of if you didn't work out would be traumatizing. I don't have to start fresh. I don't have to like explain my like anxieties to somebody else. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like my therapist. Like honestly, even if like my therapist was just okay, I probably wouldn't start with a new one because I'd be too like stressed to start.
I don't know if I can back up that advice. That's maybe
that's well. It's just that's how I.
But work. I understand where you're coming from because I'm the same. I'd be like I understand.
Okay, so one thing that we get asked about all the time, aside from how we met, was about balance and just balance in life. I think I talked about it a little bit on the pod a few weeks ago and how that's something that I've been working on. But this has been a big topic that people want to know about balancing life and friendships and money and work and all of the overwhelming things that come with being an adult.
Yeah.
So I guess the first question I'll have for you then is, do you think that you have a balanced life right now?
I mean, like, I think so a little bit, at least in the sense of like, my day-to-day structure is in a very comfortable spots where I know kind of what to expect. And like some days are going to be heavy workload wise. And that kind of is balanced off with like being able to take off some time here and there to go and do things that are just like my passions or my hobbies, because I do have a more flexible schedule with, you know, my career that I have. At the same time, like I've never been someone who's very good at balance because I like saying yes to things and I find it hard to say no to things, especially when, and that gets tougher, I think, as you go on to say no to things when cool opportunities kind of like build on one another, where you kind of get the snowball moving of, oh, this led me to this connection and now I can work with that person to maybe do something like this, which leads to another opportunity. And then, oh, you're all of a sudden friends with this person and they want to travel or something like that, where it's tough to do sometimes even like do everything that you enjoy because there's just too much of it.
That's my biggest struggle in life, is that there's too many things that I enjoy. I think I don't know, like I don't think there's any one like way to have balance in your life. I think the whole point of balance is it like it's like, if you're like picturing it for the people on like audio only, what's that thing called, like not a teeter-totter but a level,
a pendulum,
or not a pendulum, like the thing that just goes
the scale balance the
That's
scale.
if you're balanced like a scale, right, it's never gonna be like perfect. It's always gonna make a little bit one way, and I think as long as you're comfortable with the ebbs and flows of how that works and how to handle it for yourself, then I think that's what's important.
Yeah, I agree. And exactly knowing that even if you get to that like perfect balance today, that understanding like it's not going to be like that forever.
100%. And I think it's about like prioritizing what you need in that moment too, right? So like balance to me right now looks like making sure I'm fulfilling my buckets with my friendships. Right now, I'm making sure that I'm like well-rounded with work and that my like mental health is like at the top, and make sure that's kind of like my like 3 that I'm focused on right now.
Yeah.
So maybe some other things like travel opportunities or whatever kind of going to the wayside right now. And that's okay. Like once I've learned that it needs to be like, because these are the other things that are more important to me. And I think that's what my balance looks like right now. But this time a year ago, my balance was, no, I want to travel as much as possible and I want to do a lot of work, whatever, and maybe my friendships fell to the side a little bit, right? So it's all about like the time and moment in your life that you're at, and I don't think it stays in one way forever. I think once you're aware of what different types of balance looks like, that's when you actually figure out how to master it.
Tell me what you think about this. I know a lot of people, a lot of young people, you hear it often that it's like, you know, I got to take advantage of my opportunities now while I have the energy and the resources and stuff. Do you believe in that?
Not really. I mean, that's complicated. I mean, I'm not somebody that's like, I don't wait to do things until like retirement. I think the big mistake that a lot of people like maybe that are in their retirement age now made was maybe not like taking advantage when they were younger or whatever, right. But like that's like that in that era, no, like that's a hard question to answer. And
there's no right answer. You know what I mean? Like especially with you only have the perspective that you have
but
today.
It's like 50's not old, and I'm still like 23 years away from that, right? So it's like, you know what I mean? Like I think like the idea of like you only are young and have energy when you're like 25 years old is what the misconception is. I don't think that's good.
That's actually a good point to make, because that is one realization that has kind of helped me find more of a balance, is like understand, like when I was 18, I thought, oh man, like I am old. I got a lot figured out. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Then it was the same at like, you know, graduating university.
Yeah, it's like 22.
Yeah, 22. And then there was like another change around like 25, 26, I would say. And then now I'm in, you know, I'm 33 now.
Yeah.
I'm in my 30s, which is like, but it's the realization as you go through those different eras in your life that, you know, you hit another milestone or something and realize, oh, I haven't like hit the top of the mountain yet. That kind of almost knocks you down to essentially say like, don't wait for trying to do things that you enjoy or taking some time off if you need it.
Well, for sure. Like it kind of like feels similar to me when people are like, oh, well, I have to go to these things because I'm only going to be here once. Like when you travel, like in Paris, as an example, oh, I have to see this as this. 'Cause I'm only going to be here once. And
Yes.
it's never been my mentality. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm only gonna be here once. If I like a place, I'll come back. Like that's
For sure.
And look, I understand like tomorrow's not guaranteed. There's all that stuff, but I don't think you can live your life assuming that like you're only gonna have these like opportunities one time either. Like I think that's just as
And I
bad.
think sometimes you sacrifice the enjoyment of a situation if you're racing through it
because you're
to
feeling
get to
like
the next
obligated
thing.
because you're like like for you've never been to Europe before, you're going for the first time. It'd be very easy for you to be like, I have to do this because what if I don't come back? Well, I mean, like you're probably gonna go back because if you enjoy yourself, you're gonna want to, right? So I don't know. I think it's complicated when people like, I don't know where I was gonna go with that.
But it's also tough to find balance too, because I'm someone who like dives into the hype of something pretty easily.
I am too. I don't know how to do anything like half-ass.
Yeah. And just like in any situation, if someone's like, hey, do you want to do this? Immediately, yes.
Yes. That's the thing I'm learning to do. There's a few like things that I've learned that have helped me with my balance. One is being that there's always going to be more events or opportunities or travel or whatever, not having that one mindset of like, someone invited me to something this time, they're never going to invite me again. If they invited you the first time, they're probably going to invite you again. Two, just honesty. I'm really honest about my balance and my needs and what I need from the people in my life and from myself. So I'm not afraid to be like, I'm sorry, but like I need a mental health night. I can't go out. And whether that means like my mental health night is like me like, I don't know, hanging out with my friends, like not like filming it or like, I don't know, it means different things, but I think being honest about the balance you need is really important. And three, not putting too much pressure on myself to do anything. Like I just don't allow myself to feel like that need to do something.
Yeah, and I find that like when you communicate effectively with friends of what your needs are, I am someone who overthinks all the time. Like before communicating, oftentimes I'll have like sometimes like a 1 hour at least, maybe 2-3 hour like conversation in my own head of being like working through every potential
scenario
way that
on how it's
going
go
to reply and like what are the next couple of weeks or months going to be based on like me bailing on this thing or me saying or like asking someone to come to something and that
That's
kind of thing.
surprising to me. I didn't think you would be like that.
You know, I was having a conversation with Haley about this recently because she was like, oh, you need to be better at asking for things for yourself. I think why I excel at my job is that I'm very good at asking for things on behalf of other people. Mm-hmm. But not
I'm good I mean like as the person that asks for things for me, it's funny when I'm at my day job, I will like if someone on my team needs something or like I don't know, anything, I'm not afraid to like go and ask on behalf and like say, or not even ask, demand on behalf of them and whatever. But yeah, you're like, well, you know better than anyone when it comes to myself, I'm not very good at it. So that's really interesting.
Yeah. Oh, that is a realization.
Maybe it's a Gemini thing for us.
Yeah, it's the two-faced.
I know. But I do think this kind of leads into the next topic that people want us to talk about because we're talking about friendships and like if you're being honest with your friends that like you can't do something or whatever. Like I've had friends where I'm like, I'm so sorry, you're gonna be mad at me if I bail on this, and like my close ones are like, no, you're literally the busiest person we know. Like we don't like if you need to bail, we know it's like for something else.
Yeah.
But that's also goes to say that like if you have people in your life that aren't supportive and you don't think they'll take that communication well, I'm not saying like bailing on someone's wedding the day of. I'm talking about like just a friend hang, maybe you planned a dinner, but then the day comes and you're just like not like in the mood, or maybe you could be using that time better elsewhere.
Yeah. You're
not going to be bringing your best self forward. But if you're having people in your life that aren't supportive of that, then that's where we get into the topic of outgrowing friendships and what that looks like. I mean, obviously I'm in my late 20s, Jacob's in his 30s. We've both like lived enough life to have gone through ebbs and flows with friendships. So what do you think, like when you hear outgrowing friendships, what does that mean to you?
I mean, I think there's two sides of it. One, and we kind of talked about this a little bit on the Tori episode, which I thought was like a good barometer for when it's okay to kind of get rid of a friendship.
Tiered friendships?
Yeah, exactly. Tiered friendships of like not putting so much pressure on every single friendship or acquaintance or connection that you have to be like your best friend. Because a lot of the times talking about balance, you'll all easily fall into like the trying to give more than that friendship or relationship maybe needs.
really
Maybe you're
guilty
just
of
people who
that.
like have a pint together every now and then, and that can be fine.
Yeah.
And then on the other side of it though too is like, I've had this in my life. If like, you know, I'm maybe in a more depressive episode or something like that, where you kind of also withdraw from certain friendships. And I think so the other side of that, knowing when it's okay to kind of like, you know, outgrow a friendship and back off from that. But then on the other side is like knowing when to maybe double down on investment in the friendships and relationships that are actually serving you and like giving you energy and helping maintain your, you know, social needs side of things.
Yeah, and I think that goes into the finding balance thing too, right? Because like some of the best advice I've ever gotten is, well, it's kind of two-part. It's like check in with how you feel around certain friends. Like which friends are you so excited to be around? Which friends do you find your most self around? And the ones that you feel anxious to see or you don't know how they're going to react, those are probably not the people that are best serving your life, right?
For sure.
And it's the same for making plans. Like if you're trying to find balance and say Jacob invites me to dinner, I think it was Tori that said if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. Like if you invite me to dinner and I'm like in 2 weeks and I'm not immediately like, oh my God, yes, I'd love to just like sit down and talk with Jacob, not in front of a microphone, I'm so excited. Then like obviously I'll say yes to that. But if you're not immediately like, if you're already thinking of something that you would rather be doing, then just like don't make the plan in general. And I think that also a good barometer for friendships as well, because it's really easy, I don't know, to get like caught up in expectations of friendships or having to be friends with people for certain, because they're friends with other people or certain reasons. Trust me, I've been through all of that. I'm like a woman in my mid-20s. That's happened to like every girl.
It's also so hard sometimes with like as you grow older, and you know, I think the best example is like if you went to university or even after high school or something like that. As people kind of progress with their own lives, and there are different milestones that people are all kind of out there shooting for. Maybe you're on your own path of some kind, but like as people move away to different cities or towns, or kind of just like sometimes even the different like side of the larger city that you live in.
That makes a big difference though.
For sure.
Or like sometimes like somebody that you worked with who like you sat beside each other. It's the same concept of like high school friends where it's like you realize you were only friends with some of them because you saw them every single day.
Proximity is huge.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And it's the same for in the workplace. Like the biggest facade is people think like high school, it's like high school drama. High school is literally just like a little social experiment for what the rest of your life is going to be like, because it's the exact same as when you go to work and the people you become friends with at work, and then you lose that job. As an example, like when I got laid off, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to still talk to these people every single day. They're going to be my best friends forever. I couldn't even tell you the last time I talked to anybody that I worked with in my old job. But it's just the reality of it, because proximity and like shared experiences play such a big part in friendships in general.
And that doesn't make those past friendships less
not
important.
legitimate. 100%.
Yeah.
I still went to some of those people's weddings. Like that doesn't make that any less legitimate. Or if I saw them on the street, I wouldn't be so excited to see them. But when we went back to the tiered friendship, so for those that didn't listen to the Tori episode, we were talking about this concept of like being aware of friends. And if you're imagining it like a pyramid, it's a hierarchy for lack of a better term though, of like a tier of friends. And we all have those. We have our tier ones who are like our ride or dies. It's your maid of honors, your best mans, your people,
that know everything about
you. Exactly. Like if you were a missing person, they're the one they're calling to like you give a full report. Your tier twos are people that you are like you genuinely love. Maybe they were like part of your life in another era, and you see them like in social settings once in a while, but like they're not that person you're going to call if your car is broken on the side of the road, but they would still help you out if you needed to. Like if you really went through, if you really needed them, they would still be there. Tier threes are, I'd say, more like friends of friends or people that like you see out in social settings. And then is there a tier 4 and 5? Tier 4s would be, I don't even know if you go past that.
You're like, if tier 4 or 5 in a big city like Toronto would be like your next door neighbor condo or something like that.
Exactly. But or people maybe that you just say hi to at work. With work friends, I think can fall into like a tier 3 situation. Like, but it's the whole concept, and it's helped me, and I think it helps a lot of people when you're thinking about friendships like going to the wayside. Like people can move up and down the scale at any moment in their life, right?
Which is almost kind of like the exciting thing where something that I think like not as scared me in the past, but like I would never want to just get to a point where I think like these are my friends for life.
No, because that's not exciting. I've like literally in the past few months made friends that I'm like, oh my God, I didn't actually think I'd get like so close to somebody again. Like, and it's exciting. Like it's exciting to have like new people and new experiences. And I totally agree. So I think it's a moving scale. And like sometimes they're still your like tier ones, like you're like ride or die, but you don't live in the same city, you don't talk every day, and that's okay. So maybe on a day-to-day they're like a tier 3 because you don't talk to them, but the second you get back together, that doesn't take away the fact that they're still like one of your people. I just think that takes a lot of the pressure, especially off of young women who feel a lot of expectation with certain friendships that you don't need to. And I think when you start thinking about it that way, like don't, it's like when people say, I hate this because it's misogynistic, but it's like, don't do like wife stuff on a girlfriend's salary. Like when people say that, like don't act like a wife on a girlfriend's salary.
Yeah.
It's the same idea though. Like don't like be the one that's only showing up for everybody all the time and drawing yourself thin for like even a tier 3 or 4 or 5
especially
friend.
because you're closing off them, potentially opening up to like a tier 2 to like 100%. Someone new.
And also granted, the other complicated thing with friendships in adulthood is, and it's just the reality of it, you might be someone's tier 1 or tier 2 and they're not yours, and that's okay. I just think people need to like put less pressure on the expectation that goes along with friendships. At the end of the day, it's a relationship. It should be open communication. It should be what's serving you. I've had people that I thought were going to be my life forever that I haven't spoken to in 7-8 years now, and like I genuinely hope they're doing amazing and I like wish them the best. But
if you ran into them on the street, would you still like, would you, or if they're not in town and they're traveling here and they sent you a message, would you still like meet up for dinner?
It depends.
Like,
it depends on
who it was. Yeah, for
there's
sure.
There's some if some that they didn't end too great, then but like I would not avoid if it was a situation where I like see some and they're like at the same party as me, or if I go back to my hometown or something, you know what I mean? I wouldn't avoid it, but I do think, which is kind of like I have avoided it once, but like
that's okay too, I think.
That's okay too. If it's like truly like it did not end on good terms, but I have mutual friends with some of these people, and I'll say to them like, I hope they know I want nothing but the best for them. Like that was 8 years ago. Like I don't.
Yeah. What's the term? Sonder. Have you heard the term sonder? No, it's like the term that was coined, maybe, but it was a term coined by, I think it was a psychologist. I could be totally wrong. But essentially, it's the feeling you get when you kind of look out and you realize that like every individual person is living their totally unique story.
That's
and
terrifying.
it could be strangers that you kind of pass on the street.
Are you kidding me?
Or it could be people that you know. I was scrolling on Facebook the other day. I was just like, I only use Facebook for Facebook Marketplace. But I kind of got on scrolling. They hooked me for a little while the other day, and I'm like scrolling through, like looking at, I've never used Facebook at all. And so it's been years since I've used Facebook, but I'm scrolling through looking at kind of like, you know, the faces of people like a decade ago that I knew and would party with, or like maybe had a class with in university or something like that, who now have like, maybe they look a little bit different. Maybe they have a baby, maybe they live in a different city.
They have their own lives. It's crazy.
Yeah. And I just got this feeling like of Sandra, I guess.
Yeah.
And it just like was a wild experience to know, oh, the people that were once something to me didn't just stop. They went on and had like these clearly incredible lives doing, you know, it wasn't like they were doing the most impressive, like climbing a mountain or anything like that, but it was impressive in the sense of like, oh, you were out of my mind for so long, but you are still continuing on this wild journey. It was a weird out of body
Sonder
experience.
freaks me out. I think about it all the time when I'm looking at the other condos in my area, and I'm like, those people are just living their own life and have their own thoughts, and that freaks me out. But I think all to say is like, whether you outgrow friendships, whether you make new friendships, whatever, like literally life goes on, and you'll make new friends, you'll find new people. Just make sure you're making a priority to like take care of yourself first. Because we feel like we just gave you so much wisdom and advice, we decided that, like last time we did a what do you want from us, we are going to instead end off this episode instead of with voicemail, but with a draft. We drafted female pop singers and Canadian cities last time. This time, we're only going to do one draft, and it is going to be the months of the year.
I'm excited for this one, Sarah.
Yeah, me too.
Do we rock, paper, scissors to see who goes first?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, shoot.
So 1, 2, 3, shoot. Oh, first one was scissor, and scissor, paper, I win. For anyone listening.
Jacob gets to go first. And with the first overall pick, what is your first?
Well, I have to. It's my birthday month, and it's the month that just passed. It is May. I have to take May. May is a spring. Is the start. It's not officially. It feels like the start of spring here. And it is the transition from we kind of cold weather at the very beginning to nice and warm weather. And that's what we had this year. We had what? It was like 30-degree weather every couple of days or something like that. Plus the flowers come out.
So May's your first pick? You didn't even take my first overall pick for me. My first overall pick is my birthday month. Also, because I will vouch that this is the best month of the year for multiple reasons. It is June. It is halfway through the year. So if you want like to check in with yourself and restart and refresh, you can do that because it's like, oh, it's halfway through the year. It's right at the start of summer. Having a June birthday was the best because it was still in school. So I still got to like have like my locker decorated and do all the party at school stuff, but it was nice weather and no one was really doing anything. So it was the best. So June is the best month of the year. The best weather. You can't argue with me otherwise.
June's good. June's and the official start of summer. Hello.
Yes.
Okay, and
okay. This was gonna be my question. Are we snake drafting this?
What does that mean?
That means then I get to go again because it's not fair that you get the first overall pick and then you also get like, you know what I mean? Like, have you ever done draft before?
Yeah, but like you can't do that with two people because otherwise, then like I drop to my 4 all of a sudden.
Yeah, because that's fair. Because then you got the first overall pick.
You should have won rock paper scissors.
Oh my god. Okay, fine. We'll go back and forth. If we ever do a draft with more people, though, we're snake drafting.
That would make sense. I think, right? I don't know math.
Okay. Anyways, just go. What's your second pick?
Okay, it is the I would say if summer starts in June, summer really starts in July. I'm going July. July is a huge month because why? It's hot. There's a lot of things to do in July. Events, concerts, picnics. It feels like kind of a relaxation month as well. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not so busy. People are a little more chill.
July overwhelms me a little bit, which is my second overall pick. And actually, as number 2 on my board is September.
Oh, really?
I think September is a really underrated month for multiple reasons. One, if you travel to Europe in September, it costs like way less money and there's way less people because all the kids are in school. I was a kid that loved the start of a new school year, so I loved September for that.
Oh, big 5-star binder smelling.
Yeah, like you got new clothes, you get new everything. So September like gives me the endorphins from that. And the weather is still hot in September. Like people forget that like September and May have very similar weather, at least here in Canada. And it's still like beautiful weather. It's still summertime in September. So September is my second overall pick.
Okay, I don't know. I think you might be upset about this one because it is the start. If September's still warm, this month is the start of getting cold.
I don't care about this month.
October?
We've talked about this before. I don't care about pumpkin spice lattes. I don't care about October. I don't care about fall.
You're going to get canceled for not.
I don't care about fall.
Listen, I'm talking sweaters.
Someone just commercialized fall for all the girlies to love it. Like, I don't care about fall.
Hold on. We're going to have an ASMR moment. Ready?
Is that the leaves crunching?
Exactly.
It doesn't even happen anymore because of global warming. It doesn't even get cold until November.
No, there's some. Well, that's the best thing is that you can have some t-shirt weather, but also come back and have a pumpkin spice latte.
Whatever. October was ranked 6th.
Halloween.
All right. Well, with that, I'm taking, based off the Taylor Swift song alone, August.
Damn it.
Yeah. So
okay.
As my third overall, incredible song. And that's just a great month.
Okay. I think this is a steal at what my number 3. Is this my number 3?
This is your number
4?
4.
My number 4? I'm getting this at number 4. This is actually my number 4. I think I've actually got all my months that I've wanted so far.
I think so. I have 2 though. So we have very clearly different.
I am going December.
Oh my God. December is legitimately my 10th ranked month.
No, it's not. Are you kidding me?
I hate the cold.
Christmas.
Who cares?
Christmas Eve.
Yeah, whatever.
New Year's Eve.
Yeah, whatever.
Snowball fights.
No.
Hot chocolate.
I hate the cold.
Sledding.
It's not worth it. Not worth the slush. Those little pockets of joy is not worth the entire month of December being so stressful.
Is your favorite Christmas movie The Grinch?
Yeah, it actually is. Fun fact.
Oh, makes sense.
Yeah. So you just took December. Good for you. I'm going to take.
This is where it gets funky.
I'm gonna go with April. I think April is like a decent, like, again, it rains quite a bit in April, but April, like as soon as it hits April on the calendar, I feel like a new like I feel like we've gone through the worst of like Canadian winters.
There is a refresh.
There's like a refresh to April. Like it feels like, even though there's not literally tulips coming out of the ground, it feels like April 1, it's like suddenly like, oh, all the tulips like come out of the ground. Like, I don't know. So I think April feels like a refresh.
Do you think April is the equivalent of Wednesday?
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big Wednesday vibes from April. This is a tough one for me. I have my ranking here, but you took a couple of them that I would go next. I'm going. Is November on the board?
November is still on the board.
I'm going November. I think November is that real sweater weather type of moment.
Yeah, and also it's still like, I mean, for Haley's birthday, it was like November 5th weekend, and we were literally playing spike ball in shorts and t-shirt outside. Sometimes November still is really good weather.
Oh, yeah,
so.
I was running a few times. Yeah, it's true. You can get lucky.
Good.
I'm going November.
Good. So you're telling me my only choices I have left are March, January, and February? Okay, I'm going.
Those were originally my bottom 3 as well.
Okay, well, then I'm going with March because, again, I love getting away in March. I've gone to London the past 2 Marches, and the weather's been great. And I like traveling in March because, again, it's cheaper to travel in March. And if you go to Europe, the weather is still going to be better than it is here.
Okay.
So I can take, and my sisters are born in March, so I'll be kind and pick their birthday.
For the same reason, I'm going to take January. It's New Year's Day. It is the most down time.
Yeah, it's
in
low
terms
key.
of no emails are being sent, no phone calls are happening. My brother's birthday is end of January, so top and tail is nice there. I'm going.
So January. I'm getting my 12th ranked month, and it literally was the 12th ranked of February. It's the shortest month, but feels like the longest. It is the most grueling, and I hate February, but I guess we celebrate love in February, so whatever. I think that's fine. So the final rankings are, you want to read out your team?
Yeah, my team. What do I have? I have May, July, October, December, November,
and January. I wrote yours down for you. And on team Sarah for the months, we've got June, we've got September, August, April, March, and February. Please let us know which, place you'd rather live, with those being the only months that you live through. And let us know what we should draft next. Thanks again, as always, for listening to Talking Fast. We have a new episode come out every single Wednesday, and we will see you.